With Jurassic World Rebirth in theaters right now, I think it's an appropriate time to do a ranking of these movies from worst to best. Now, personally, I love the majority of the films in this franchise, except for two. There's one that I extremely hate, and another one that I was extremely disappointed by, but I don't hate it as much as other people do. And Jurassic Park and Lost World Jurassic Park were the reasons why I ended up loving films in general. Jurassic Park was the first ever film that I ever watched as a kid, and it's the first ever film that I ever owned as a kid as well. These films have a special place in my heart, and they're a big part of my childhood. They're a big reason why I love dinosaurs in general, love film in general, and also love music in general as well because of John Williams' score. So yeah, I'm going to rank them from worst to best. And let's start off with, in my opinion, one of the worst sequels for a film franchise in general in the history of film. Alright, to start off this list, it's going to be a long rant about what I think is the worst film in this franchise, one of the worst sequels I've ever seen in my entire life, one of the worst films I've ever seen in my entire life, and the film that ruined my childhood. Jurassic Park 3, in one simple notion, if I wanted to encapsulate what I feel about this movie, it's this. This movie ruined my childhood. I'm not even kidding by saying this. Jurassic Park 3 pissed me off as a kid. I was 9 years old when this movie came out. I was in theaters to watch Shrek with my class back in the summer of 2001, and I remember walking down the hallway and seeing the poster of Jurassic Park 3 at Scotiabank Theatre on the wall. And right then and there, I was kind of confused. I was thinking, why is there a different dinosaur rather than the T-Rex on the logo? But I was going to give this film a chance because unfortunately I wasn't able to watch this film in theaters in that summer, and I had to wait until Christmas of 2001 to ask my dad for Christmas to get me a copy of Jurassic Park 3. So it's one of the first ever DVDs I ever got to own as a kid, and we watched it as a family. And right then and there, it started off one of the worst experiences I ever had in my childhood, because from the start of this movie, Alan Grant was back. That was a big indicator, like, oh, okay, like, I loved his character. I love Sam Neill. I love Jurassic Park and his character in Jurassic Park. So I'm like, okay, he's coming back for this movie. Should be good. Ellie Sattler's back. Laura Dern's back in this movie too. But they're not married. Okay, whatever. Even as a kid, I was like, okay, this is kind of weird. I thought they were in love with each other in the first film. But whatever. I guess I don't know anything. So I'm watching this movie, and then Alan dreams of a talking raptor. I'm like, okay, what the hell is this? And then they crash land on the island. To be fair, the crash landing sequence was pretty cool. Ironically, you know why it's cool? Is because it was Steven Spielberg's idea to Joe Johnston to make that the focal point of the story. Go figure. One of the best things about this whole movie happens to be Steven Spielberg's idea. And he didn't direct this movie. Again, that should have been a big indicator for me as a kid, because I love the first two films. And I'm like, why is Steven Spielberg not coming back for this movie? Then I watched the rest of the film, and I realized why he didn't come back. So I was thinking to myself, why is the T-Rex not on the logo? And then the T-Rex appears in this film. And I was like, oh, okay, this movie's gonna get great. And the T-Rex fights the Spinosaurus, who is supposed to be this big, bad, cool, new villain dinosaur. And then the Spinosaurus snaps its neck. It snaps the T-Rex's neck. That when I saw that, it would have been the equivalent to, if you're a Star Wars fan and if you watch the original trilogy, if like Darth Vader were defeated by like Darth Maul, for example, right? Darth Maul's a cool villain, but imagine you watched the first two films, and then in the third film, Darth Vader gets knocked out, and then they're like, oh, Darth Maul is the new big bad villain, and he has to defeat Luke Skywalker. I think that's the equivalent to what I felt when I saw the T-Rex getting defeated by the Spinosaurus. The rest of this movie really pissed me off. Like, the poop scene pissed me off. The cell phone in the belly of the Spinosaurus pissed me off. And also, the storyline with Tia Leone and William H. Macy and them trying to find the kid and tricking Dr. Grant to get on the island with them for an expedition when it was really a rescue operation, that pissed me off too. I have refused to watch this film in full since I watched it with my family way back in 2001 Christmas. I never will watch it ever again. I refuse to, because it pissed me off so much as a kid. It ruined my childhood to the point where I could not watch the original two films until Jurassic World came out. I'm not even kidding you. I watched Jurassic Park and The Lost World Jurassic Park millions of times before Jurassic Park 3 because of the impact that the stupid movie had on me, I couldn't watch those films until I enjoyed Jurassic World, and I was like, okay, I'll give those two films a chance again. And I still love them till this day. But Jurassic Park 3, I refuse to acknowledge this movie is in this franchise. I just hate it with all my heart. And also, it's the only film that I haven't updated from DVD to Blu-ray. So yeah, Jurassic Park 3 could kick rocks. I hate this movie with all my heart. I wish I could swear, but yeah. Now, Jurassic World Dominion is hampered by the COVID restrictions that happened during the time of production. And I understand while watching this movie that this film was impacted by a global pandemic. So I give this film a little bit of a pass. It is super disappointing, but it has some big highlights. I love the chase sequence that is happening through the market on the motorcycle with Chris Pratt's character. I thought that the sequence was fun. The first 20 minutes or so of this movie is super promising because we get to see the world impacted by the dinosaurs living amongst the human beings and how, it's a new world out there. And the sequence with the Brontosaurus like walking through the snowy, landscape was pretty cool. But yeah, no one cared about the locusts. I don't understand why that was a big plot point. And even though the final fight sequence at the end of the film was kind of cool too, and seeing the original trio of characters meeting up with the new characters in Jurassic World was kind of cool to see too, it's still a super disappointing film, and I haven't watched it in full since it came out. I actually watched it in theaters a couple of times, and the other times that I watched it in theaters, I ended up enjoying it a little bit more. But yeah, I still haven't seen Dominion since it came out. Maybe I'll give it another shot. I'll never give Jurassic Park 3 another shot, but maybe Dominion. Now, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is very underrated in my personal opinion. I understand why people don't like it as much as, the other films in this franchise, but there's a lot of strong points with this film. The first sequence with the T-Rex chasing after the helicopter is so cool, and I love that sequence. It is so ominous and so dark and so impactful and so intense. And J.A. Bayona, who is the director of this movie, did a great job of making this movie pretty intense. The volcano sequence was very fun, a little bit over the top, but very fun. The second half of this movie becomes this monster house kind of situation, which I kind of enjoyed, but I understand why people didn't love it. But the ending of this movie I really love, because Jeff Goldblum's Ian Malcolm character gives an ominous warning as to why we should not be playing God. And I understand why people might not like this film, but this film did a great job of showing you the repercussions of playing God. And I like Fallen Kingdom. I don't care what other people say. I think it's super underrated, and it is a solid film. I'm cheating a little bit, but at number 3 is a tie between Jurassic World and Jurassic World Rebirth. Ironically, I did the same thing with the Final Destination franchise rankings, where I had number 3 as a tie between one of the older franchise entries and the recent franchise entry. But yeah, Jurassic World was a great reboot, a great sequel, a great meta film too, because it's criticizing and also talking about why you shouldn't continue on a franchise in an ironic way. I don't think a lot of people caught on to that, but I really enjoyed it. I love the over-the-top marketing that they did for the film too. That website that showed live footage of the park was so cool. And we got to see a fully functioning park. It was so awesome to see. Yes, it's almost a rehash of the original film, but I didn't care. I still had a blast. Jurassic World Rebirth feels a little bit different from the other films in this franchise. It kind of feels like Lost World and Jurassic Park 3 mixed in together, but Jurassic Park 3 in a better way. And I had a blast with Rebirth. It was so fun, so entertaining. It was a blast, and it was a fun thrill ride once the characters went into peril. So yeah, that's the tie between number 3. At number 2 is The Lost World Jurassic Park. I love this movie with all my heart. Again, I don't know why people hated this movie for so long, but now it's starting to be a beloved film, and it rightfully so. This is such a greatly shot film. I love the cinematography in this movie. Spielberg does an excellent job of making this movie darker, and bringing the dinosaurs into the real world was so awesome to see too. Ian Malcolm's the main character, which I love. And that the sequence on the cliff, the long grass sequence, Everything in this movie is so awesome. I just love it with all my heart. And you probably know what's number one. And number one is the film that made me love films in general, Jurassic Park.